Hello and welcome to the Angry Microwave. We are back again with a special episode regarding the end of The Mandalorian. This time we're talking post-credit scene and what that could mean for the future of the Mandalorian series, Boba Fett series. I'm all over the place. I'm still jacked from this episode. I'm Brad. This is Callum.
I did not see that coming at all. I know I should have. It's been talked about in Deadline, everything, that a Boba Fett series is coming and was set to shoot next year. But for some reason, I did not see this coming. And it was the perfect way to end this season of The Mandalorian. Boba Fett's been reintroduced. Everyone loves him. Everyone loves his actor. It's just all gone to plan, I feel like, with Boba Fett. And now we're being told that we're going to get a whole new series next December. So did they lie to us in that Investors Day? I feel like it's against the law to lie in an investor kind of stock market situation. But they said The Mandalorian Series 3 is going to come out in December 2021.
So did Kathleen Kennedy say Mandalorian Season 3, or did she say they'll continue and a new season will be back in December 21?
I need to go back and listen to the
because if she said we're going to get a new season, well, we talked about The Mandalorian, but if she said we're going to get a new season landing Christmas 2021, then that would kind of not be lying, I guess. But anyway, Callum, quickly recap what happened in the post-credit sequence. And guys, let us know in the comments below. Obviously, like and subscribe to that stuff. But let us know what you thought of the post-credit scene. Did you know there's a post-credit scene? And what do you want to see from the new Boba Fett season? Callum?
So we see him go back to Jabba's palace. He sees him absolutely wreck shit with a fat version of Jabba's little...
he's put on some pounds, isn't he?
We've all gained during lockdown. Let's not judge.
So he goes in, he storms the place, they shoot the place up. His little assassin friends there, wrecking shop. Essentially, he takes over and he's now running the underworld on Tatooine. Who doesn't want to watch a show with him running into trouble and running the underworld on Tatooine?
I just
think... Who doesn't want to watch that?
The biggest question around this, and why I feel like it needs to be its own episode, is we don't know what the fuck this even is at this point. To be fair, this could end up being an hour-and-a-half special, followed by a full season of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've been looking around today, there's no comment. And people they're convinced that The Mandalorian Season 3 is going to happen with The Mandalorian, and this is happening as well at the same time. Or
I don't think it's happening at the same time. I don't think this will be an 11th Star Wars show that we're getting. I think, going back to our previous video, please check that one out. We say some great stuff. It's mostly just us pumped about how great this episode was. But you said that you think this is basically going to replace The Mandalorian because The Mandalorian storyline has finished, essentially.
I hope it's finished, at least.
So, because you love the show and it's a great ending, not because you think it's awful, right? Just to make that clear. But this is why we want you guys to let us know what you think should happen in this Boba Fett series. If it is going to be a series, what if it's a literal book? What if they're promoting a literal, book about Boba Fett?
God.
And all this hype is about. But we've got conflicting information from the film websites. So we've got some people, I think Variety were reporting that this is going to be a new standalone season. I've seen some people, some sites report that this is going to basically be Mandalorian Season 3 because he's technically a Mandalorian, or his father was a Mandalorian. So it is technically a Mandalorian Season 3, which is why Kathleen Kennedy maybe wasn't lying.
I'll get my lawyers onto Lucasfilm.
So what do you want from this Mandalorian project? This Boba Fett project. Do you want a movie? Do you want a series, an 8-episode series like we've had with Mandalorian? Do you want this to be Mandalorian Season 3?
If it goes back to being, it can end up being the best of The Mandalorian, of him going to different places, kind of solving missions. And I just feel like it's a much better fit to have Boba Fett go and do that and have these little side missions everywhere, because everyone's been clamoring for a Boba Fett series for ages. It just for a second, it blows my mind that 5-6 years ago, we were talking about an Obi-Wan series, a Boba Fett series, and it seemed so far away. It seemed, because at that point, we'd only ever really got a few Star Wars films. And now it's just absolutely insane that we've been talking about him getting a series, Mandalorian getting a series, and all these other things everywhere. But I'll be happy with a series in the same format the Mando was, to be fair, and taking over.
Yeah. So you're happy for this to be a Mandalorian season 3, maybe bringing back some characters that we've seen from the Mandalorian appear in this show, or do you want it to be just solely focused on new adventures based solely on Tatooine about him running the underworld? Like, what do you want to see from this?
There's so many questions I have around this. Like, if Dave Filoni and what's his name? I've completely forgotten.
Jon Favreau. Sorry, I was drinking.
Yeah. So is Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, are they show running this? Because the Mandalorian's their baby. But then if it's another series, they can't do both at the same time because both are meant to be shooting next year.
First of all, surely Dave Filoni is producing and show running the Ahsoka show. This is what I mean. Surely.
They can't make all this Star Wars content. They need new people in this realm. And who was meant to do the original version a couple of years ago of the Boba Fett TV series? Was it Josh Trank? I can't remember.
I knew it was a filmmaker that's had problems in the past, but that doesn't really narrow it down, because when it comes to Disney, when it comes to Lucasfilm, everyone's had problems along the way at some point. I think it may have been Josh Trank. But what's to stop them from bringing those ideas back to life? Because clearly they got close to bringing something together.
Yeah, I'm just so excited by this whole thing. It's I just didn't see it coming, and I didn't expect it to be coming out end of next year. It's all just very exciting, Star Wars at the moment.
This said, though, I know you said that you weren't a massive fan of the Western element of The Mandalorian. Set on Tatooine, following a bounty hunter. Surely this is going to be even more of a Western than what Mandalorian was. Surely, in terms of style and substance, it's got to be more of a Western.
I just feel like Boba Fett has a special energy about him, and a bit of swagger that the Mando doesn't have, and isn't a problem that he doesn't have. But just seeing the Slave One, it is so special.
I don't know. I just feel like the characters that we've had in Mandalorian allow this. And by this I mean the Mandalorian, allow season 3 to happen, but look different, if that makes sense. Because the central character in the Mandalorian was your boy the Viper from Game of Thrones. That would have been a lot funny if I actually remembered his real name. I'm going for the joke that I was originally going to go for. There you go. Thank you. There you go. Thank you. I don't know if we need him. I think he can now be a supporting character that we've got going forward, because surely, as much as we love Mando, right, as much as we've loved having him for 2 seasons, he could be a supporting character or a recurring character in a Boba Fett show, surely.
But then again, I keep forgetting that he was given the Darksaber at the end, and Bo-Katan was happy with him keeping the Darksaber, right? So he is now leading the Mandalorians, because whoever gets that is the leader of Mandalorians, right? If I believe the lore correctly.
To be fair, when it comes to that, I'm learning all of this through the Mandalorian, because
I'm the same as well. But judging from what Gus Fring was telling us, that'd be a great crossover. Just running a chicken shop on the Death Star, great. But yeah, so judging from what they were saying, whoever holds the Darksaber is the leader of the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
and Bo-Katan didn't challenge him to that yet.
Yeah.
I presume that if that storyline finishes, there'll be some kind of challenge between those two eventually, or some falling out, and then they challenge for the Darksaber. But yeah, so there could be another whole season of Mando 3 now, where it would make sense, because he would be leading other Mandalorians, allowing the Boba Fett series to be a Boba Fett series. I don't know, but
okay. You know what? I'm gonna just contradict myself and overwrite what I just said. Now you've said that, because there's so much happened in this episode. I actually forgot about the Darksaber. I forgot about that. I forgot that was a whole element of the show. But when you think that her character, her whole arc in this season, which everyone was excited to have her back, especially with Katie Sackhoff playing her, because she played her in the animated series as well. Her whole arc is, I really want that Darksaber. And I can't for a second imagine they brought her in for a couple of episodes to be like, nah, you keep it, that's chill. Don't worry about it, it's fine.
Exactly. Like, you can see him running the Mandalorians, and then there's some disagreement or some battle that goes wrong.
Especially when there's such a split in their religion and their beliefs, because they mentioned earlier on that she's very much like a new wave of Mandalorians, where they don't believe in that die-hard shit. If you don't have to keep your hat on all the time, your helmet, not your hat on. You don't have to keep your helmet on all the time. He's very much the old school, die-hard cultist side of what it means to be a Mandalorian. So I definitely think there's something to be had there. Could we be getting some kind of Mandalorian civil war because of things that are kind of leading up to a head? So I don't think we're done with Mando. I do hope we get 2 separate series. I hope we get the Boba Fett series, and I hope we get the Mandalorian continuing, because although the first 2 seasons were very much set around Grogu, I personally think there's more to be done here. But this episode is about the Boba Fett show and the Boba Fett season.
Could we be getting a Grogu series?
Fuck me, could you imagine?
Do you see him training to be a Jedi?
I think the whole Luke Skywalker CGI was all right for a minute, but I couldn't handle 45-minute episodes of that.
Don't bet anything past Disney at this point. They leave no IP or character.
Yeah, that's true. But just go back to the original point of this video. What we're going to get from the Boba Fett series, I personally think that the Darksaber stuff could be central to going forward in the Mandalorian series. I honestly think the Boba Fett series is going to take place on Tatooine almost exclusively, and I'm absolutely fine with that. I'm happy to have a Western about, what's going to happen now that the new version of the Empire is kind of diminished again because they've taken out Moff Gideon. So the new wave of the Empire, which was kind of coming to resurgence, is now kind of gone down a bit, and there's more room for the underground to run wild on Tatooine.
Remind me again what happened to Moff Gideon at the end of the episode.
Well, that's another reason why I think we're going to get a Mandalorian season 3 separate from Boba Fett, is because what happened at the end was they essentially captured him and he was alive.
Interesting. Like, what do you do with somebody like that?
Well, one of his last lines was, "You're deciding to keep him alive. This should be interesting."
So now there's got to be a season 3 of the Mandalorian, because I feel like the Boba Fett series is Boba is now kind of exited. Yeah, it's kind of left the Mando kind of bit alone, and is now on his own travels doing his own little thing.
His own little thing.
I feel like Boba Fett's now
way to diminish the hype.
Please don't come at me, Boba. Big fan. But yeah, it's just such an exciting time to be a Star Wars fan at the moment, and I'm really excited to see what happens.
Also, do you remember 5-10 years ago? Could be 20 years ago, who knows at this point, when they went back and they gave a voice to Boba Fett and people hated it because they retconned it because of the prequels, because they had what's his name, Temuera Morrison? No, I'm probably saying his name wrong, but the actor who plays Boba Fett now,
who's also absolutely brilliant in this. I was not sold.
He's so good.
I've become so used to seeing him as Boba Fett now that I couldn't imagine anything without.
But obviously, Boba Fett didn't have any dialogue in the original version of the originals, and then in the special editions they gave him a voice and stuff like that, and people hated it. And now people are buzzing because he's got his own TV show. Like, it just goes to show that leave George Lucas alone. Like, that's what I'm saying. Leave him alone.
Public service message: leave George Lucas alone.
Leave George Lucas alone.
You know what? I think George Lucas is doing all right. There were rumors going around that George Lucas may have directed this last episode, which would have been absolutely mad.
Mate, I tell you what, if you put George Lucas's name at the end of this episode, people would like it even more because they'd just be happy that he's back and he didn't fuck something up, bless him. But no, I'd anyway. We've done a video on this season of The Mandalorian. It's about Boba Fett. I'm pumped. I hope it's separate from the Mandalorian season because you've had that interaction. Boba Fett's now got his armor. This was essentially a precursor to Boba's standalone season, because now you don't have to worry about how is he coming back, how is he going to get his armor. You can go straight into he's a badass. He runs this town.
It's so exciting that we've gained the trust of Boba Fett and kind of and we've seen his re-origin story. So now we can go straight in on those adventures, and we don't have to do the whole, this is how we got his armor back, like this is what his skills and kind of capabilities are now. We go into this series fully knowing where we're at with Boba Fett, which is very exciting.
You know, the great thing is as well, really what they've danced around is they don't have to address how he actually survived in that Sarlacc pit. Like, they don't have to address it, because his first appearance was, I want the armor, I'm back, baby. And everyone's like, oh, he's back, but he's not the main focus, but he's back. They don't have to address that. It's
kind of mad that the post-credit scene, that could have been the ending of the Boba Fett series. Like the last words could have been, I need to go back to Jabba's palace and do some unfinished business. And then it could have cut to like a Boba Fett series coming next year. But they didn't even do that. They just showed what potentially could have been the climax of the Boba Fett series. So whatever they've got outlined must be pretty good, because that could have been the whole kind of story of him going through and getting into Jabba's palace. But he's just completely done that already.
Yeah. I do think they need to clarify. They need to come out and clarify what's actually happening with Mando and with Boba Fett, because, or do they? Because this is great marketing. Now people are talking about it because they're speculating what's happening next.
But even the trades don't know what's happening. Like Deadline and Variety, they normally know everything that's going on at Disney. Like, but they just they don't, and it's kind of mad to see.
Yep. But we want to know what you guys think is going to happen, what you want to see happen in the Mando season. Do you think it's going to be a one and done, a movie event? What do you think it's going to be? Because we don't know. At the minute, all we know is called the Book of Boba Fett, I think, isn't it, or something like that?
Yeah,
is it going to be a literal book? What's going to happen? What is it? What's going on?
It goes in perfectly with the whole chapters idea, though. Like, I really like the idea of having these kind of like of books of different characters, and then it does allow that to happen. I do wonder if they'll keep with the chapter stuff for like the Ahsoka series and the Obi-Wan series, and whether they'll all just be these kind of like books on characters, because that is quite a interesting way to do it, and it kind of allows you to jump between characters. Yeah. But where is the Book of Jar Jar? that is what I'm asking.
You know, I was going to make a joke about a Jar Jar series early on, but I was like, you know what? That's going to lose the viewership.
Oh, sorry.
So people don't watch the videos until this long anyway. But let us know what you think, guys. Please do like and subscribe to our channel, because we are trying to put out more content. I'm pumped. Next year, I think it's going to be great. Hopefully, we'll find out what's happening. In the meantime, we're probably going to get more Star Wars news. Let's face it. It's every day at the moment.
It'll be outdated by the time it comes out in like an hour's time.
But yeah, in an hour's time when this is live, it's going to be like Book of Boba Fett, literal book. Calm down. I've been Brad. This has been Callum. We've been the Angry Microwave. This has been Boba Fett.
Goodbye.
News. Goodbye.